This is the Red Beard Podcast.
Hold on to your butt.
Do we really suck? Or is this guy really that good?
I have one speed, I have one gear. Go!
Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Tony, and you guys are listening to Red Beard Podcast on Cinco De Mayo. What do you think about that, man?
Huh? What?
It's Cinco de Mayo, man. It's good times, man. It's the holiday that everybody decides to drink on because they don't know what the real holiday is.
Oh, so basically like every day for me.
Oh, all right, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
No, just kidding.
Or is he?
Or am I?
So, other than it being Cinco de Mayo, man, yesterday was the 4th, so, may the 4th be with you.
Yes, may the 4th be with you as well.
Thank you. The 4th is strong with this one. So, did you see that picture that I posted where it was Mark Hamill on was it Rhea's back? Did you see that?
Yeah, like Yoda?
Yeah, like Yoda, yeah.
That was awesome.
There was actually another meme that a buddy of mine posted where it was Yoda on Mark Hamill's back, like in the original movies, and it just says, it goes, "Put it in easy, I will." like the worst possible situation for that, the worst end result for that.
Oh, but man,
either way, yeah,
dude,
man.
I feel like, all right, so Star Wars, like, out of all the characters, like, I'm not really a huge fan of Luke Skywalker, right? Like, of course, I love the character, but he's not my favorite, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Of the actors, though, I think Mark Hamill would be my favorite to hang out with.
Yeah, well, he seems like a pretty chill guy.
Yeah, like, I mean, he just seems like out there. Like, he's just like I'm not saying he's crazy, but he just seems like he's like very fun loving.
Yeah, like he wants to have a good time. He also did that really cool thing before Star Wars where he dressed up as a stormtrooper and just went on like Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
And like no one knew it was him.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think he's a pretty chill guy. What is it? Adam Driver, I think would be pretty chill to hang out with.
Yeah.
Like he just seems like a nice guy. Like I've seen interviews with him and he's like always cracking jokes. Like he seems like a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, that dude is super funny too.
And this is going to be a perfect segue, but when I think about actors that I think are really cool, and a lot of people have said this, is Chris Evans, who plays Captain America.
Yeah.
Chris Evans, I heard, is like super nice, and I know that for a fact because a friend of mine who actually went to the same college I did for acting, she actually was childhood friends with Chris Evans. And not the previous, but the previous Oscars, he actually went with her, took her to the Oscars as a date.
Nice.
And she's married and whatever, but like, it was a joke. If you watch the Oscars, they were like, "Oh, is this your new girlfriend?" And she was like, No. She's like, "I'm not his girlfriend." She's like, I'm a childhood friend." She goes, "I'm married," So, but she said, I've seen posts of her and him and his brothers, and they're all.
Did
just
her
like
husband get to
super
go?
nice. No, it wasn't. No, it was.
All right, so listen, I'm sorry. Nothing happened, I'm sure. But psychologically, can you imagine being like the husband that...
Well, but they're also really good friends.
Like the husband's good friends with him too.
They've been friends for a while. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So he
cool.
was, she went to school for acting and wanted to be an actor, but obviously she doesn't do that anymore. So I think Chris Evans was like, "Hey, do you want to just like be my date at the Oscars?"
Yeah, picture this though. Like, let's say you don't know Chris Evans, but your wife does.
Right. Yeah, I can.
That would mess with me, dude. Like, me and Chris Evans are really good friends. Like, oh, really? Yeah, he's gonna take me to the Oscars. Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's an entirely like.
And it's
different...
like you're cool with it. You act like you're cool with it. You're like, yeah, I'm cool with it. That's cool. You guys are good friends. I trust you, baby. I trust you. Right? And it's just, I'm sorry, that would mess with me. It's like, because
I don't
Chris
know.
Evans is Chris Evans.
Chris Evans is a G. Yeah, he definitely is. I don't know. For me, it wouldn't really make me nervous. I mean, I trust my wife. I'm not saying that you don't trust, but I'm just saying like.
No, you're taking it way out of proportion here. Like, I'm not saying that I wouldn't trust her. It would just, it's just psychologically like it's that type of thing that would just fuck with you.
I guess I know what you're saying because he's Chris Evans. He's a high class celebrity.
Like everybody, everybody else in the world can sit here and be like, "Oh, it's Chris Evans. He's super unattainable." right? Like, you got nothing to worry about.
Right.
Like, your wife is not going to date Chris Evans. But, like, when your wife knows Chris Evans
yeah,
and is good friends with Chris Evans, quote unquote, and goes on a date with Chris Evans to the Oscars, it's like, that would mess with me in the head a little bit. Like, just even if just for, like, and she could always come back to that. Or, like, you could always come back to that. Oh, yeah, well, you went to the Oscars with Chris Evans.
What, like, use that as ammo in the future?
Yeah, like, that would be like an arguing point or something. I don't know. I'm just saying it would weird me out.
I can see what you're saying. But from what I know and what I've heard, he's a super nice guy. And like, he just seems like one of those guys, like, yeah, you'd want to, like, grab a beer with and chill with. He's, like, really laid back, and I've seen him on Jimmy Kimmel, and I've seen him on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and he's just, like, chill, and he, like, goofs around and he laughs, and he seems like he's such a normal guy, you know. So
nah, he looks mad chill though.
Yeah, definitely. But speaking of Chris Evans, I mean, your Civil War comes out tonight, and I know you are going to see Civil War. So
yes,
how
I am.
excited are you about that,
dude? It's like Christmas.
Did you see the picture that Rob posted on Facebook?
I did not.
It was like a pic. It was a picture of. It was yesterday. A picture of a kid sitting, like, in front of his room door with the door closed, but he was, like, sitting right in front of the door, and he was like, "This is me waiting to go see Civil War tomorrow." Like, he's sitting in front of the door, just waiting like 15 hours until he can leave.
Dude, that's what it feels like, man. It does.
Yeah.
It totally feels that way, man. Like, this is something that, I mean, Marvel's been building up to this for 8 years. I mean, I don't think from jump they knew that this is where they were going, but it organically went there, and it's been building up, and you have this, like, this friendship between these two characters that is going to be stressed to the point where they're fighting each other, like, going at it, like, to, like, just about to kill each other over an ideal. So that you know that that's going to be a pretty strong, like, emotional feeling during that fight, because you've known these characters for 8 years,
Right?
You know, unlike Batman v Superman, where you saw Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. Then you see Batman v Superman, where they just introduced Batman, they just met, and now they're fighting. So it's like there was no, like, emotional connection there. There was no, like, the whole reason, and the whole thing was just kind of manufactured, and it didn't feel like this is going to feel. You know what I mean? Like, to see these two guys come to blows is going to be like, whoa, what the hell is going on?
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm super excited, man. And there's talk of, like, there being a death in the movie, or maybe a couple, and I don't know. I am predicting that there's probably not going to be anything too crazy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't think there's going to be any, like, you know, permanent death in this movie. You're probably going to get some stuff like you did in the first one, where Nick Fury died, and you know, he came back or whatever.
No, it's probably going to be something kind of like, you know, Batman versus Superman, where, like, at the end of the movie, you know, Superman obviously is still alive. You know, something like that. I feel like there's. And you know that Marvel's going to put in some scene at the end of the movie for a preview of what's to come.
Right.
Which will probably give you a clue that person who may die in this movie is not dead. I don't think that they would necessarily... I'd be surprised if there was a death, you know, where that person, that's it for that character.
I just feel like the thing that they have coming up, right? So they have Avengers Infinity War coming up. It's a two-parter. In the comics, like, every single superhero that you could imagine is a part of this story, right? In the Marvel Universe. For them to kill anybody at this point is going to reduce the number of people that you can throw in that movie, because they don't have that volume. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, like, they're already working with limited numbers, and to the movie-going audience, the people that are watching the MCU, like, I'm saying limited numbers, and if you've never read comics, like, you're probably like, well, there's a shit ton of characters. But I mean, if you look, like, just look it up online, look up the Infinity Gauntlet online, and just look at the cover, and you'll see it's like you have hundreds of characters that are part of this, and that's the scope of what's going to happen in Infinity War. You want as many people on deck as you can, right? So I don't think you're going to have any true deaths. There might be some implied deaths, like you said, but I think it's going to be to a point where we know that it's not permanent.
Right. Yeah, and I think that makes sense. I think that Marvel would probably be making some really big decisions if, like, they decided to kill somebody off and didn't bring that character back at all. Regardless of what happens, I mean, if I'm you're familiar with Civil War. I mean, was there anybody that definitely died in the Civil War?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So is that what you think is going to happen?
No.
All right. So that's my point, though.
No. So I don't like. I think so. What happened in Civil War, and this is I know this is absolutely not going to happen in the movie, based on just the politics of it. I mean, you have contracts, you have people that are lined up for certain things. So I'm absolutely positive this isn't going to happen. But Captain America is the dude that dies in Civil War in the comic books. Like he gets shot, albeit with a weird like time bullet or some shit that doesn't really kill him, but sends his soul back in time or something. And Red Skull keeps his body alive because I don't know. Right? Like, I mean, I'm your mortal enemy and you have the option to just let this dude die, but he's just like, no, we're going to keep him alive.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't know. But anyway, that was a little suspect. It did give us an awesome, like, 12-month run of, or it might have even been a 24-month run of, Bucky being Captain America, which was awesome. But I don't see them doing that in the movies just yet. But Sebastian Stan, the guy that plays Bucky, is actually going to be. He's actually signed on for another, I think, 6 movies after this.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's got a 9-movie contract.
Jesus, so that's going to keep going.
Yeah, so I mean, like Phase 4. I mean, if they don't get Chris Evans back, then they have their Captain America for the next 6 movies.
Yeah.
Including Avengers movies and stuff. So. Robert Downey Jr. already said that he's, willing to do a 4th Iron Man. So that, definitely kills all speculation that he could be dying in this movie, because a lot of people were thinking that because his contract's up and, he's getting, older and may not want to continue being Iron Man, that, he's going to bite it in this movie. Well, he's going to be in Spider-Man. It's already been announced. That's confirmed. And he's already said that he's willing to do a 4th movie, so he's not dying either. So if neither one of these guys are dying, I don't know who's going to bite it.
I'm telling you, man, like, as an actor, like, signing a Marvel contract is, like, so, like, if you get a character, it's just, like, job security. Because, like,
oh, yeah.
I mean, like, Chris Evans has done, what, like, 5 movies already?
Yeah.
There's the first two Captain America movies. He's done both Avengers. He's doing this one.
Right.
Like, that's 5. He's probably going to be in the next one. That's 6 movies.
He had a cameo
just in
in
that one character.
He had a cameo in Thor.
Yeah.
The Dark World.
Yep, I remember that. And then you got, Robert Downey Jr. Jesus Christ, that guy's been in every freaking movie, like, Marvel universe.
Right.
I don't know. I'm ultra psyched about seeing Civil War. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see it probably until another week. I'm officially going on my honeymoon, which and I have Lenny's show, which I just want to plug for a second. So I'm going to be in a show called The Social Avenger, which we've kind of talked about last podcast briefly. But it's actually, the dates for that are today, May 5th, 6th, and 7th. Obviously, next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then the following week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as well. So it's at the Arctic Playhouse in Warwick. Once again, it's called The Social Avenger. Make sure that you guys check it out. I will tell you this, if you're looking for just, your kind of run-of-the-mill play, this is not the show for you. This show really pushes the envelope, and you're probably going to see things that you didn't expect to see on stage. That's as much as I'll say. But it really, within the first 5 minutes, you're going to be like, holy shit, I didn't see this coming.
Dude, I'm so dumb though, man. I'm so stupid. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you give these dates, and I'm saying to myself, how the fuck are they gonna have this show on Saturday and then next week on Thursday and Friday? Like, when you're gonna be on your cruise, how is that gonna happen? And then I was like, oh, it's a fucking play. So you have what, like a guy that like fills in for you, right?
You mean like an understudy? Thank you. So the way that's working is the roles that I have in this play are not bigger roles; they're smaller roles. So there's other actors. There's actors that are playing multiple characters in the show, so they're literally just filling in for the 4 shows that I can't be there.
Right. Then
I come back for the last week, and then I'll obviously be on all 3 shows when it's in New York City. So, it's definitely. I appreciate the fact that he's allowing me to actually do that, but he really wanted me to be a part of it. So, I thank Lenny Schwartz for that. And I can't wait to open the show tonight. It's going to be kick ass, and there's always a different energy when there's an audience there. You know, it just takes the show to the next level.
And when is the New York show?
July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and then I come back. I come back on the 4th of July in the morning, which I am just dreading what kind of traffic there's going to be. But anyway, that's that. So yeah, but anyways, just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, I won't be able to see Civil War until probably about a week and a half. But I'm hoping that when I go to see it, I'm probably going to go see it during the day, and it won't be as crazy in theaters, because people will be in school and stuff like that. So I'll miss like the rush, but I'll still get to see the movie. And try to avoid spoilers, but I'll probably hear something regardless because that's just the way that people talk.
Well, I have a feeling that we're going to figure out how, Stonewall Jackson earned his name in this movie. Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah, and maybe we might see something about the Battle of, Fort Sumter.
Yeah, you sent me that article.
Yeah.
Or that long text about that. Also, yeah, I mean, if you have seen anything online lately or have seen the articles that we're kind of referring to, then you probably know what we're talking about.
That wasn't an article, dude. That was me.
No, there was another article that I saw that referenced what you talked about.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't send it to you, but I forgot where I saw it, but I did see it. But I had gotten your text before I saw that, before I seen the article. But I definitely want to move on to something that you showed me today that I had heard about, but I never actually took the time to see the video, which was Obama just like dropping the mic literally.
Oh, Obama is a G, man. That dude really so he killed it.
No, he did.
He killed it.
There's no other president that would do that, like that has done that yet.
No.
Like you know what I mean? Like he literally knows that. So the funny thing that I think about Obama is ever since he's been in office, there's been two people. People that are like, he's doing a great job, and people are like, fuck Obama, he's screwing up America. And then like, I can't wait for him to be out of office. Now we see who could possibly be in office, and we're like, oh shit, Obama's not that bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we got Hillary, who's like a fucking nutcase, and then we got Trump, who's even worse. So, and Bernie Sanders, who I love the guy, but unless he makes some major moves in the next couple weeks, he's done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. But yeah, so I think Obama is kind of like, you guys thought I was bad, but like this is kind of what's coming, and he's making fun of that.
Yeah.
He really just cracking on it in that video, but just how he was like, I got two words, Obama out, and then drops the mic. Like no other president is going to say that.
Nope.
Anything that comes after that is probably going to be said worse in the White House. I mean, I don't know, man. He's a
what were you telling me about Hillary today?
She's so stupid. So what I was saying is that like she's trying to get the African American vote. So they asked her what is one thing that she always carries on her, and she said hot sauce. Like, do you really think if you say you carry hot sauce on your person every day, black people are going to be like, oh shit, she's carrying hot sauce, I'm in. Like, come on. I was Trump all the way, but now I'm Hillary because she likes hot sauce.
Let's be real. You're not going to hear anybody that's black be like, oh, I was Trump all the way.
Well, yeah.
Maybe a few, but
there's probably a few in there. I mean,
those are also the guys that you see on TV, like on CNN, like fucking, and Fox and Friends and shit. Like I don't count them.
Yeah. Well, there have been a decent amount of African Americans I've seen at the Trump rallies. So it's kind of like, wow, okay.
It's depressing, man.
Yeah.
It depresses me. And I'll go on record as saying that. And I mean, if I'm losing you as a listener, then that means I didn't really watch you as a listener. So, yeah, it depresses me. It fucking depresses me.
Well, did you see this video on Facebook about like there was a bunch of Mexicans that were on the side of the road, and like it was at the end of a Trump rally, so they were protesting it. And as all the like Trump people came by, I forgot, I think it was in the South somewhere, but they were coming by in like, their pickup trucks and their big ass, like, GMC trucks, with like Trump signs. And as they're driving past this, the Mexicans who you think would probably be getting the rough end of the stick in this situation because he wants to put up this wall to like, or deport them. They're basically looking at Trump and making themselves look even worse. Like as they're driving by, there's like a younger Mexican kid, and he's literally being like, "Fuck you." like, fuck you. And he's like, literally keeps saying it to the Trump people. It's like, you're the one. This is the reason. You're basically you're proving Trump's point even more by acting like this. This is why he's saying he wants you out of the country. You know what I mean? Or wants to put up a wall so we don't have to. So this trash doesn't need to come into the country. And that's what Trump is saying. And you're literally proving his bullshit point. Like, not all Mexicans are trash, but what the behaviors that you're exhibiting on camera that are now on Facebook make you look like exactly what he wants people to see. You know?
But that's everything, though. Like, I mean, it's like you said, not all are trash, and like that's the same thing with every race and nationality. Humans in general, you have trash humans, and you have humans that are not trash. The problem that I have is that I feel like, they played into the bullshit, but I feel like they were baited. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they were baited. Like, you know, like you got somebody that's putting you down and, you know, trying to, you know, stomp on your rights and not. I mean, like they you know, crossing the border illegally is not cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not advocating that shit, but when you got people that are just trying to stomp on your rights and trying to, like, you know, just we're going to keep everybody out and whatnot. Like, I feel like, you know, somebody says fuck you, you know, you're not really proving anything. You're responding, right? And when you respond, now, like you said, like that, they can take that and spin it any way they want. That's the problem with media today, is that you can take something and you can just spin that any way you want to fucking spin it. So they're giving him ammunition, absolutely, but I don't think they're proving anything. I think they're definitely feeding the fire, though.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll just go on record saying, like, I'm not saying that Mexicans are trash, and I think I kind of explained that. But
yeah, you did.
I just want to make sure that people get that. I'm just saying that, like, they were kind of proving or are helping, add fuel to the fire of what Trump's been saying the whole time.
Right.
It didn't really help their cause. So, yeah, you know, I mean, but Obama, he is just like this baller president now that everybody is like, oh shit, like we thought we were in some shit, but now we might actually be in some shit.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that you never have, and that's I think the system is flawed. I think you know, having this, like, you only have 8 years, right?
Right.
Having that in place is like, it's a flawed system because it takes fucking at least 4 years to start climbing out of the hole the last president left you in.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then it takes another 4 years to start seeing some changes. And now you got to fucking put an end to it and bring somebody else in who's going to start trying to implement their own agenda. And it's, I don't know. I think it is a flawed system. I mean, it's our system. We got to embrace it and love it. But I do think that it could use some overhaul.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's scary to kind of think about who we might actually elect. Because I was in a conversation with a colleague the other day at the banquet that I was at, and he said that he was somewhere at a dinner, right? And there was a table of older people that were all talking about who they were going to vote for, if it was like Trump or Hillary or whatever. Right. And they were all going around the table, and he was like eavesdropping on their conversation, and they went around the table. They're like, all right, let's go around the table and see who you're going to vote for. And it was literally everybody was like Trump, 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 Trump. And then it got to like it was like the 9th out of 10 people said Hillary. And then they were like, and then the person that was voting for Hillary said, why are you all voting for Trump? And then he like was even more interested in what their response was going to be. And this was their response. They were like, the majority of them said, because he's unpredictable. Which I feel like is the worst thing you would want in a president, that he's unpredictable. Yeah. Right? Like, I mean, if he's unpredictable, like, great. I guess that maybe there could be some positives of that, but unpredictable is also him just like, you know, one day he's in office and then the next day he's like, let's pick up the phone and start a war. That's unpredictable, but it's fucked up.
Exactly. Like, that's my biggest fear, is that somebody, like another, like, some other country, like their president or their, you know, prime minister or whatever is going to fucking call him and say something, and he's going to say something back to them that is like racist or just like inconsiderate or hurtful, right? Because he didn't like what they said.
He's like, burn bridges. Like,
and not just burn bridges, but literally start a fucking war without trying to start a war.
Yeah.
Like, because in his mind, he's just speaking his mind, and in their mind, they're like, oh, you just insulted the shit out of me. so I guess that's the way this is going down. Click, and then now we got a situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially with the fucking like tensions rising, like in the fucking in China and over that area and shit like that. Like we're close right now to war, right? Like all it takes is some idiot like that to push us right over the edge.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I just hope that
you saw what he did to Rosie O'Donnell.
Who cares about Rosie O'Donnell? Rosie O'Donnell hasn't said the smartest things either. She's fucking weird. Anyway,
no, I'm saying like I know.
I know. What
but
you're
I mean
saying.
his remarks about her. Like I mean, it's like their beef. I could give a shit about, but like like
if Rosie O'Donnell was a country,
yeah, we'd be fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, him dropping the mic just hilarious. And it's just so like Obama to do that. He really was making some great jokes. So if you haven't watched the speech, then check it out. Also, I showed you a trailer earlier today that you weren't aware of. The trailer for a movie called The Shallows, starring Blake Lively. I saw this trailer for the first time the other day and was like, "Fuck yes!" So if you haven't seen this trailer yet, check it out. What was your first impressions on this?
Like when I saw it, the first thing I thought of was open water.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Going into the trailer, right? Mm-hmm. Like the first, because it's like a 2.5 minute trailer. The first minute. What did you think it was about?
The first minute, I thought it was a fucking FaceTime commercial.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was actually going to
be a
Skype
like, commercial or something, like because like it was like she goes on this vacation, she's out there, she's like da 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 da, and then all of a sudden she's FaceTiming somebody, and like you hear the music and it shifts, and then like when they get to that the house of the person that she's calling, it looked just like a commercial, like one of those commercials with Kristen Bell.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're saying.
And Dak Shepard.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like one of those commercials, and I was like, oh, it's a commercial. And then I was like, no, he said it was a trailer. So I kept watching, and I was like, oh, cool. That's fucking cool. Right? Because, like, then, like, you get all this other shit going on, like, with the sharks and stuff like that. That was really cool. The first 10 seconds, I maybe thought it was like she was going to get jacked by those two people or whatever.
And I think they did that on purpose. I'm like, oh shit, like these guys are going to try to like rape her or something's going to happen, like fucked up, and it's going to be one like a Touristis kind of movie, like where they abduct her and they do this fucked up shit. But then I'm like, you see, her get dragged underwater, and then she like it's a shark movie. I was like, fuck yes,
yeah.
And it looks like, I mean, Blake Lively hasn't done a ton of shit, but she's done enough. And she was in Green Lantern, which it wasn't the best movie, but I mean, like I thought she did a good job, and I think she's a decent actress. I don't think that she would be attaching herself to a movie if it was going to be a piece of shit, know. And like this movie actually looks like it's more of a psychological thriller. I mean, she gets dragged underwater by a shark, but then she's stranded on this like rock that is just kind of like over the surface where she has a place to chill, and the shark is just circling, and and she's close enough where she could swim to shore, but not close enough where she can make it without this thing grabbing her.
Right.
But then there's like a buoy like 30 yards away, which I don't really understand, like, because in the trailer she gets to that buoy, and I think there's a gun attached to it or some shit. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know what the purpose.
A flare gun, probably.
Maybe, yeah. I think that's maybe what it was. But yeah, she's like on this buoy, which is, I guess, maybe why she went there. But I didn't really see that from watching the trailer. I was like, why the fuck? What's the point of getting to the buoy? Like, get to fucking shore. But I guess, the flare gun would make sense. But I'm glad somebody's doing a shark movie where the shark actually didn't look that bad.
No, it didn't.
And it doesn't. I mean, they're usually using CGI for it, but I mean, it looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, like with today's technology, I mean, if you put enough money into that shit, it's gonna look real.
Yeah.
On the screen,
right?
Because everything's 2D on the screen anyway,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. So I think the movie just looks like a really good shark movie instead of like that trash like Sharknado, which it's so bad that people love it, which I don't understand. I never even bothered watching it. But
yeah, it's like when people ask you to smell sour milk.
Yeah, it's sour.
Smell this.
Yeah, is this smell bad?
It's like, what do you think? Did you smell it?
Yeah,
it smells bad, right?
It wasn't good. Yeah, it wasn't good. But it definitely looks a lot better than Open Water, which Open Water was
it was awful, man. It's fucking 2 hours of my life I'll never get back.
Yeah,
that movie did not need to be that long.
No, Open Water was pretty fucking bad. I don't know. That movie frustrated me because those people went to. I swear to God, the characters were written to just be the most stupid people ever to be stranded.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're freaking out, which is obviously you're gonna freak out, have a couple moments. They started getting in fights with each other, and then, but then you see this boat off in the distance, and it's out in the distance, like it's miles.
Yeah,
but it's the only thing in their view, and they decide not to swim in that direction. And I remember being in the theater just being like, fucking swim. Like, even if you don't make it, like, at least you're getting towards a goal instead of looking in every direction and not seeing anything but horizon. You know, so whatever. There's also another movie out called Green Room, which you actually hadn't heard of yet.
Yeah, no, that's a Eli Roth movie?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's Green Inferno. I'm sorry.
Well, I want to see, yeah, you're right. But the Green Room, I want to know who the director of that was before I actually get into this. Green Room, looking it up right now.
Isn't that
Jeremy Saulnier. So
isn't the Green Room like where people wait before they come out on a talk show?
Yeah, the Green Room is like where the comedians hang out before they do stand-up, or like where an actor hangs out. Yeah, it's like, I'm going to hang out in the Green Room before I go on Jimmy Fallon.
There's a horror movie?
Well, it's a horror movie called Green Room. I don't exactly remember. It's not necessarily. I don't think it's a real green room.
Oh,
I think it's just a green room, and that's what they call it. But
so I'm picturing like them getting locked in a green room, and maybe they start going crazy or some shit.
Well, the basically, I know. I think it actually. No, I'm sorry. I'm remembering the trailer now. I sound like a fucking idiot right now. But they're in this green room because they're a punk rock band. But they're actually like there's these like skinheads that basically trap them in this room, and Patrick Stewart is like the lead skinhead guy.
Patrick Stewart?
Yeah, and that's the coolest thing is that he attached himself to this movie, so you know it's not a piece of shit. And I watched the trailer and I was like, this movie looks fucking awesome, and it's basically like it's got some actors in it that you would know. What's his name? Let me click on this guy. Yeah, Anton Yelchin. You know what I'm talking about? Yelkin?
Fuck no.
You would know who he is if you saw him. He was the kid in the new Fright Night with Colin Farrell.
I never watched that.
Oh, all right. He was also in Into the Darkness in Star Trek. He's been in Star Trek. He was in Terminator Salvation. You would know him if you saw him. He's definitely look him up on your iPhone, man. He's or just look up the Green Room and you'll know who he is. But they get trapped in this room and they give them the option. They're like, we'll let you go if you can get out, if you can escape. And this kid tries to escape and he like breaks open the door and he starts to like go out and you see all these German Shepherds just start like charging him. So it's like they're doing everything in their power to not let them out, you know? So, and you don't know how it's going to end, you know? It's probably going to have like, you know, one survivor at the end, you know, and what actually happens when he actually gets outside the Green Room and you know, fights his way through. So it looks interesting. It's done pretty well in theaters already. It's gotten really good reviews. And like I said, I don't think that Patrick Stewart would actually be doing it if it was a piece of crap movie. But it's really interesting to see that Patrick Stewart's attached to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. Another movie that I also have not seen, but it's worth talking about, is Keanu by Key and Peele.
Oh yeah,
this trailer looked hilarious, but it's gotten like awesome reviews.
Yes, it has. Yeah, they looks like they're killing it, man. And I'm dying to see this film. This is a movie that I actually had. It's very close to Civil War in my rankings as far as movies that I want to see. Mm-hmm. I just haven't had a chance to get to the theater and see it yet.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to see anything because of the show and because obviously next week. But when I get back, man, like Keanu, The Green Room, and Civil War are all like on my like have to go see movies. Mm-hmm. I've even told Don, I'm like, because we talked about The Green Room on Tony Flying Solo, and he was like, we got to go see Green Room. And I'm like, yeah, when I get back. He's like, oh, I got to wait. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're actually going to – he asked me if I wanted to go see it tomorrow. I'm like, I can't, man. I'm doing the show. Yeah. You know, so he's going to be – I thank him for being patient, but he's going to go we wait, actually, and check out the movie when I get back.
Yeah.
So if you
want I'm gonna wait for Keanu.
Yeah.
For you to get back, because I know you're definitely a cat lover. So.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. It looks hilarious. Yeah. I want to see that. Keanu just looks like, I mean, it's Key and Peele humor.
Right.
You know, especially like in the trailer where they're in the bar. And he's like, you can't talk like that. And he's like, yeah, I'm in the right place. He's like, so,
dude, the funniest shit is the one that you posted on Facebook, though.
The texting battle? Yeah.
That was so great.
That was awesome.
Because it happens in real life. Like, you definitely misinterpret, like, what the other person's saying. Like, I do, like, 90% of the time. I always have to read a text message, like, 2 or 3 times. I'm like, did I get that right?
Yeah.
Probably not. Let me read that again.
I like when he put "let's go" and then he's like, "This motherfucker!" like,
oh, there ain't gonna be no rounds.
Yeah, you just see him in his kitchen, like losing his shit, and the other guy's like, "Yeah, man, let's go." So
he says, "I got the first round." He's "Ooh, it ain't gonna be no rounds. It's a street fight."
Oh, it's great, man. They're brilliant when it comes to comedy. I mean, I hate to admit it because it's like I've tried to do shit that's funny like that and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, no, they like I sat and I watched that, and then after I watched that, I just let the mix play. Like, you know how YouTube will just play like one video after the other?
Yeah.
I left that running like all day.
Yeah.
And laughed my ass off the whole fucking time.
It was all like what, Key and Peele shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, like I'm so mad that their show is not on the air anymore. But dude, of all places to find this out, Courtney watches Watch What Happens Live, this shit on Bravo.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
watches that with Andy Cohen.
Yeah, so Key and Peele were actually on the show, and they were talking about all the shit they have coming out, man. They're doing Police Academy.
Oh, shit. That's awesome.
They're doing a movie about the substitute teacher.
Okay. All right, yeah.
That gets all the names wrong?
Yeah.
That shit's going to be great. Dude, like, come on. Like, and that's like just the tip of the I'm sure that's the tip of the iceberg, man, especially with this Keanu movie like doing so well. I think, you know, Police Academy and that shit, they're going to take off, and we're just going to have a ton of Key and Peele shit to watch. So, I mean, it sucks that I don't get to watch them weekly, but knowing that I have 2-hour movies to look forward to, you know, in the future, like, I'm excited.
Well, I just hope that if they do actually do a Police Academy, I think that's a movie that they got to be like very careful with. Like they need to make sure that they bring in like the old characters. Like you got to have like Steve Guttenberg come back.
Yeah,
you got to have Kim Cattrall because she was in that. And then there's also this guy's name always escapes me, which is no big surprise. The guy who does all the voices and all the noises. You know what I'm talking about? The African American guy. He always does all the sounds.
Oh yeah. Eric Winslow.
Yeah, that guy is unbelievable. He's unbelievable with the sounds he can make. He did a whole thing on a talk show with there was a guy like singing, and he did like the entire music, like the drums, the guitar, like unbelievable. Like he sounded like the exact instruments. That got to bring those guys back because Police Academy is not going to be Police Academy without them. You know, you need to have them kind of pass the torch if that's what they're trying to do. So yeah, man, Key and Peele, dude, killing it. Dude, I wish I was as funny as to come up with skits like that, because I'll come up with an idea and in my head it's funny, but then like when I actually see it being filmed and I see the end result of it, it's not that funny.
It's Michael Winslow, not Eric Winslow.
Michael Winslow, yeah.
Dude, I honestly think that it's just a matter of them being like true to themselves and having like the chemistry that they have. You know what I mean? Because the stuff that they come up with is like, if anybody else did what they were doing, it would fall flat. Yeah, I mean their personalities definitely lend a hand to why I think they're successful. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like their comedy is molded to them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like I don't think anybody else can get away with the shit that they do. And like there are a couple of skits that I think other people could do, but for the most part, just based on like, and they craft it. Like you have like the Miami Vice one. I don't know if you ever saw that one, where Key plays the Don Johnson of the group, and Peele is the Tubbs. the I don't even know Tubbs' real name. I gave Don Johnson the respect of using his real name, and Tubbs was just Tubbs. That's the 80s for you, brother.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Sorry, man. If Miami Vice came out in the 2000s, then I'd know your name, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that they're definitely wicked successful. I think my favorite Key and Peele skit is the one where they do where Tim Cook comes out.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
He literally elbow slams all the windows closed. And that's so out of character from what would really happen.
And then he has the meltdown at the end.
Oh yeah, he just loses his shit. He's like, just stick to the script, man. He's like, I am going to stick to the script. And then he just he takes the cards and throws them. He just goes off script. No, they're definitely extremely funny, man. And I mean, but they also have exposure.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. I think the stuff that Jim and I have done and the stuff that we have done is funny, but we don't have the amount of exposure that they have.
Yeah.
So the more people that see it, there's going to be a specific audience that you're trying to appeal to.
Exactly.
And if you're not getting that, if that audience isn't seeing it, then it's like it never existed. So I think it's just a matter of getting more people to be aware that you're out there, and then them seeing your material and then sharing it and so forth, and then it just kind of goes on.
Yeah.
So, but they've been around for a long time, and hey, man, they've paid their dues because they've been doing a ton of shit.
Yeah, they've been around since before Mad TV.
Yeah, man, I've seen them I've seen them take some bad hits too. There was a video of them at some college where they were doing it was just them on stage doing their show, and they got booed off the stage. I mean, this was maybe about 5 years ago. I saw it when I didn't really give a shit about Key and Peele. I knew who they were and they were up and coming, but they were at some college and just got booed off the stage. So and I think it's to know that they've gone through shit like that and to see where they are now. They've obviously paid their dues, because I'm sure that's probably not the first time that's happened.
Yeah, their stuff is I think the reason why they got booed is because their stuff is very relevant to what's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, all of their stuff is very real. You can watch something and you're just yo, that shit happens, and it's they take it to the extreme. So they take a very real situation and just take it to the extreme, and that's your skit. Yeah, right. And it's beautiful, and they act it out beautifully, and it's perfect. And to do that years ago, it was boring. Mm-hmm. Because people weren't looking for shit that was relevant. They were looking for just they were looking for the Dane Cooks.
Yeah, Dane
Cooks,
what I mean? Oh my God, he's not doing shit now.
No, because Dane Cook's comedy is irrelevant right now.
Right,
and I said it.
Yeah,
I'm not a comedian. I'm not a comedian. I can't do what he did, and I can't do what these guys do. Can't do what you do. But I can tell you, I watched that shit, and I can tell you his comedy is irrelevant right now. If I go back and try to watch his old shit, sure, I'll chuckle a little bit. I'll remember some times where I laughed at that, and maybe that reminiscence would make me laugh again. But the reality is, I'd rather listen to a Louis C.K. now or watch a Key and Peele skit, because their shit is relevant to the world and what's going on in it. And it's not just shit. It's not just stories that they made up. You know what I mean?
I will say this, though. I mean, it's comedy has a very, very quick shelf life. You know what I mean? There's, because when Dane Cook came out, people liked him because he was he would just oh, so bananas. Let's talk about bananas. Whoa, bananas. You know what I mean? That was why he was funny, because he was over the top and kind of eccentric, and people were oh, this is a new way of doing comedy. He's more energetic, and he does this vicious circle thing where it's comedy in the round.
Right.
That's cool, right?
That was actually the name of one of his shows, I think.
The vicious circle. That's why I said that. But then but then you got people like Louis C.K., who I also feel Louis C.K. is only still relevant because he has a show called Louis. He hasn't done a full stand-up in a year and a half, 2 years. It's been a while. He needs to release a new thing, but he's focusing on his show. He's also focusing on that other weird show that he did with Alan Arkin. Not Alan Arkin. Who's the guy from MASH? Alan Alda, thank you. Alan Alda. He did a show with him. I forgot. It's it's two names. It's something and something. It's you got to buy it on his website. Every episode is $1, and then the last 3 are $3 or something.
Well, the reality, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say, hey, that's the only reason why he's still relevant. I would say that it's not in spite of him not doing shows. I think he's not doing shows because, like, I mean, where does the money come from? The money is going to be in a studio or a television network buying your show, right?
Well yeah, but
and that's always like in his show Louis, like that's based on his life, right? Mm-hmm. So like there was that. I remember the episode where he was house hunting.
Yeah, and he went to his financial guidance guy, and they were like, you don't have the money for that,
right? But then like he still got it, mm-hmm. right? But then he had financial hardship after that,
right?
I think when you see that, it kind of puts it in perspective. Like the show is going to get him that, and that's obviously what he wants in life because that was in his show, and that was the pinnacle of his like what he wanted in a house, right?
Right.
So with that in mind, it's like, oh, dude, I'm going to do what's going to make the most money and still stay true to my art because like he's not deviating from his vision and what his comedy is. Like his comedy is definitely has his own signature, its own stamp on it. You can't deny that. So he's staying true to it, but he's shifted from doing the stand up to doing the thing that's going to make more money.
Right. I
reach the most people, I guess, too, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with that because now his couple first seasons are on Netflix, so I mean he's making money off that. But I guess my point is that I think the only reason why Louis C.K. hasn't somewhat fizzled out is because he's keeping himself on the map by doing his shows,
right?
Like doing the things that people can watch on FX and stuff like that. I feel like if he wasn't doing those, then it would just be like, okay, man, waiting for your next special. Like that's why Bill Burr is actually doing really well. Bill Burr is hilarious.
Yeah.
Right? He's touring all the time. I mean, he's in his prime right now, and he also has F for Family.
Right.
F is for Family, which I thought was great.
It was. I mean, are they doing another season? Or
yeah, he's actually. I was listening to his podcast the other day, and he's actually has been in the writers' room for season 2.
And I think that's the other thing. Like he's got the podcast too.
Yeah,
and his podcast is hilarious.
Yeah, he keeps it going. Like he's always doing something, always keeping relevant, always like making sure that people are aware that he's doing stuff.
Yeah,
that way people don't forget about him because people have a very short attention span.
And there are two types of people too. I think two types of comedians and comedic actors, and there's the ones that are always on, mm-hmm. where it's just who they are.
Yeah,
and then there are ones that write material and perform it. Right?
Yeah.
And the ones that are always on, that's the Bill Burrs. Like he can do a podcast and his podcast is going to be just as hilarious as his stand up.
I was just going to say that like him doing stand up is, I mean, obviously he writes his material, but like I think to come up with it probably is a challenge, but at the same time it might be easier for him to come up with his material, and people that go to see him want to hear his type of fucked up comedy. Same thing with Louis C.K., whereas you have kind of like a Jerry Seinfeld, like where he writes his shit all out. Like I think it takes a while for Jerry Seinfeld to come up with his stuff.
Right.
It's not. I'm not saying it's hard for him to do it because he's a well-seasoned comedian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he wouldn't. I mean, but he's also another guy though. He's got his comedians in cars. Getting coffee.
No, it's all about
it's all about just keeping yourself active and keeping yourself in people's eye.
Yeah, it's like the Matrix, right? So. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like the Matrix. It's like you get to a point where you can see the code.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
As it's falling through the ether, right?
Yeah.
Like you actually see, oh, that's going to be funny. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to write it down. I'm going to put it in my notebook and I'm going to keep it for later and then I'm going to marinate on it and I'm going to create something out of it, right?
Right.
So like when you get people like Seinfeld, like it's just natural for them. They see the Matrix. They're Neo. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then you've got folks that might not be Neo. They might be, what's that guy's name? Larry Fishburne's character.
Oh.
Morpheus.
Yeah, Morpheus.
So you might have a Morpheus out there who's not necessarily seeing everything for what it is, but he knows it's there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And can absolutely navigate through it. And then you have people that are just blind to it, like me. And I'm in awe of the people that can actually do that type of work. So yeah, it's a cool thing. I don't even know where the fuck I'm going with this. So let's.
No, it makes sense. I think that, like I said, I just want to say one more thing, like regarding this Jerry Seinfeld, man. he's a great host on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and he says funny things every once in a while, but like it's really about the guests, you know, because like he'll just let the guests talk and you see why they're funny. And I think that for me is the most interesting thing is when I watch Comedians in Cars, it reminds me of Jim and I, because him and I are both comedians and we hang out and the stupidest shit pops into our heads. Stupidest shit. You and I have the same thing. Like, we'll be driving around and stupid shit happens.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? But it's like they're driving around and they have these GoPros that are recording everything. So it's the funny shit that happens is what they edit and put into the episode.
Right.
But it's interesting because what's his name? And you watched the episode I told you to watch where it was Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey is the guy that hosts Family Feud. But his episode on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee was brilliant because he actually made this point about how you can't teach people comedy. Comedy just happens. And he's like, comedians actually have a different brain than everybody else. They see the world differently than other people see it. So it's like if somebody dies, a comedian is the first person to make the joke. You know, the general public might not be ready for it, but that's the way that we think. You know, and I thought that was a really great point. You know, and when Jerry Seinfeld does his show, you see how they crack on everything, and they make a joke about everything because that's the way their brain works. So I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting, you know, and that's why comedians are who they are, man, because their brain works differently. But the last thing I want to talk about, and this kind of didn't ruin my day, but it kind of like really brought me down for a little bit. I was online, you know, just kind of like looking around, and this article popped up where it was all about Joey Kramer. And if you guys don't know who Joey Kramer is, well, let me fill you in. He was actually the little kid that played the main character in Flight of the Navigator, which was like a Disney movie that came out when I was a kid. It really sucks, man. Yeah, the character's name was David Freeman. And it's, you know, it's all about this kid who gets goes into a spaceship, and he has to find his family because the spaceship has to take him back in time, or it's really weird. I'm not going to get into it, but it's an excellent Disney movie that I used to watch all the time, and I've still watched to this day, and it's excellent. But this guy, I guess, got arrested for Canadian bank robbery. He's 42. Last I heard, and this was maybe about 5 years ago. Well, no, that was just his age. Oh. So he, I'm not saying you're going to rob a bank in Canada, but I'm 42. I better get on that bank robbery.
Clock's ticking, buddy.
Last I heard, it was like 5 years ago. I saw online somewhere. I actually looked him up because I was like, "What happened to this kid?" He was working at like the Canadian equivalent of like a Dick's Sporting Goods, and somebody recognized him and actually took a picture with him and held up the Flight of the Navigator DVD. But I guess like after his,
but he's like unrecognizable now, I think.
Well, I mean, he was like 12 when he did the movie,
yeah.
So I mean, he definitely doesn't look the same. I mean, you can kind of see remnants of the kid that he was, but I mean, I guess he got into like drugs after Flight of the Navigator. Like he did like a couple like episodes, like 2 episodes of Murder, She Wrote, and like really nothing after that. And then like I guess since his, he's a childhood star, he wasn't doing shit, so probably got involved in drugs and alcohol, which is that fucking sad story.
Yeah.
But he didn't do shit, and he was working at like that, Dick's Sporting Goods, whatever that place was. But I guess I thought like the other day I was thinking about this guy. Like literally, like 2 days ago, I was thinking about him, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird. Like, I wonder if that guy's still working there." And today, I'm online, and I find out the guy got arrested for bank robbery because I guess shit wasn't going well, and he really needed the money. But I did post it on Redbeard Podcast Twitter, so if you guys want to read the full article about what happened, it's really not that long. It's maybe only about like 4 paragraphs, and you see like a mugshot of what he looks like now. He looks pretty rough. But yeah, man, I guess it just sucks. So nobody got hurt in the bank robbery. Like somebody, I guess he had been in there before and had like a an issue with one of the people that worked there. So even though he was wearing like a wig in some kind of disguise, they still recognized him and arrested him. But nobody was hurt, and it hasn't been announced yet if he actually was carrying any kind of a weapon. I don't think that he was. He might have been acting like he was holding a weapon in his pocket, but probably wasn't. So glad nobody was hurt, but sucks that this guy's life has taken a toll for the worst. So or turn for the worst is what I meant. That really sucks, dude. But anyway, yeah, that's all I got this week for Redbeard Podcast. You got anything else you want to add?
Just a little anecdote. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, sure.
Story?
Sure.
Last week I had a...
oh, yeah, this is going to be good.
I had an experience. A friend of mine sent me a text message. Rob's brother, Ricardo.
Yeah.
Sent me a text message and was basically like, "Hey, you wanna cover my shift for me?" So I'm like, "Sure," but I don't work for your company, so I don't know how that goes down.
Yeah.
So he was just like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. You're good. Just I just want to meet up with you and show you the ropes. We'll take about maybe 15, 20 minutes, walk you through how to close the bar up." So I actually took on a bouncing gig at Trinity Rep.
Yeah.
And
Trinity Brewhouse.
Oh, Trinity Brewhouse. Yeah, no, I don't have to.
Do you have your tickets?
Yeah. Get out of here.
Trinity Rep is actually a local theater.
Hey, put some shoes on.
But Trinity also has a brew house, which is like a bar down the street.
Yeah, so Trinity Brewhouse, yeah. Awesome bar.
It is. It's chill, man.
Yeah, super
it's a
chill.
Hipster bar.
Hipster bar. So like when he told me that he was security there, I'm like, wow, they have security at Trinity? Why?
Because drunk people have.
So yeah. People like don't know how to have a good time without taking it too far sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, like it was really weird. It was a weird experience because like with my current job, which shall go unnamed, I work with the public, so like I have to have like this very warm and friendly personality. So that's the persona that I took on when I was bouncing. So it was like super strange. Like people would come through the door and I'd be like, "Hey, how's it going today?"
Yeah.
Like, "Hey." When
you're supposed to stand there and look intimidating.
What brings you in?
Yeah.
And they're like beer. Beer brings me in. I'm like, "Oh, cool.
Have a good time, man."
What kind of beer you drink, dude? So how long you been drinking for? So it was just really weird. So anyway, like I'm standing there like, and I'm just like watching the crowd.
We cannot cover that beer. You'll have to pay for it.
Yeah, that beer's out of warranty. I'm sorry. But the so yeah, like it was cool. Like I'm standing there I'm like kind of like playing the wall, so to speak, watching what's going on, and so it was interesting because the night that I worked there, it was the night of the circus.
Okay, yeah,
right.
So the last circus where they had elephants.
Yes,
where they're going to use elephants. No more elephants in the circus.
No more elephants in the circus because they're endangered and they're poor treatment of animals or whatever, right?
Up. That's why.
Yeah, and the elephants are like, fucking thank God.
Yeah.
So anyway, like the people from the circus were there. So like you have these women that are elephant riders, basically, and they're just chilling, having beers and like talking to people, and people are coming up to them and taking pictures and stuff like that. It was this really weird like celebrity experience, even though they're not really famous. They're just they were just down the street a couple of minutes ago and whatnot. So anyway, there was this dude that was like really like hanging around and just having drinks with them, and I actually thought he was part of the circus because like he just blended in with the group. He had this white suit on and he was this old dude, and I thought like maybe he was like the ringmaster or some shit, or at least a clown, right? And he's standing there, and he's just having drinks with him, and like one of my buddies, Pete, is like, "Hey, I think he's somebody. I think that guy's famous, right?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't think he's anybody, man." and like we were going back and forth, like, no, I think he's somebody. He's definitely somebody. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. But long story short, he comes up to me after, and he's like, yeah, what do you think, man? Can you take a look at my car? It's like outside, parked outside, and I look out the window, and I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, is it all right if it's parked there? And I was like, oh, you're a little close to the curb. Maybe you should, like, you know, move it back a little bit since there's some room now. And he's just like, yeah, I guess I'm leaving in a minute. And then he looks at me and he goes, I can't stand gay people. And I'm like,
what the fuck?
I'm like, really, dude? Like, that conversation went from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds, right? Like I have no idea why he felt the need to tell me this. So I'm like, yeah, well, you know, it is, you know, 2016, and you know, we are all like just cool. Like, everything's cool here. You are in the wrong place. You know what I mean? If you don't,
I would love to see the expression on your face when that happens.
I was like, you are in the wrong place, man. And he was just like, oh, you know, that's why I'm leaving though. Like, and then he starts telling me this story. I'm like, dude, like, I don't want to hear your story about like why you're not like cool with gays. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
so
not.
awkward.
It's just not what I'm here for. So he starts talking to me, and he starts saying stuff like, what did he say? He was like, oh, I worked at Rhode Island Hospital as, like, you know, the head EMT, and you know, I lost my job. And he's like, I got, you know, I've been unemployed for 2 weeks. And I'm like, wow, this is a lot of information. Like, I'm gonna have to excuse myself so I can actually do my job. And he goes, yeah, well, watch out over there, because that guy over there is trying to sleep with me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think he is.
Yeah, I think you have a warped perception of reality.
So I'm like, whatever. So like, I told him, like, hey, look, man, I think, you know, maybe you had a little bit too much to drink. It's time to, like, you know, take yourself outside and, you know, call it a night.
Yeah.
And so he did. But he left, and he actually sat outside, parked in his car, waiting for these girls from the circus to come out. So there was this one girl that just kept going outside to take a phone call and, like, use FaceTime and whatnot, like with, you know, maybe a boyfriend or a family member or something like that. And she's just outside, like, you know, talking to people. And, like, this guy, like, keeps walking up to it, like, rolling down his window and, like, you know, trying to talk to her. So I actually had to go outside and tell this dude, hey, man, you gotta take off. So he would take off, drive around the block, come back, and still be weird. So it's just like, I have a newfound, like, respect for people that do this job, because it's aggravating. Like, it doesn't feel dangerous. I didn't feel like I had, like, this, like, you know, big exciting time. It wasn't an adventure. It was just really friggin' irritating. It's like, why are you doing this? Why are you being a creep? Why are you being a stalker? Like, another dude goes up to, you know, somebody and, like, just basically innocently asked to take a photo with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the circus people again. He wanted to take a photo with her. He was like, hey, you remind me of somebody I know. I'd just like to take a photo so that, you know, I can show this person.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, I guess the person that she was with, like, the dude was like, oh, that's weird. You're a weirdo. Why are you being such a douchebag? And, like, the guy was like, oh, man, you don't have to be an asshole about it. And, like, then they started getting, like, loud. So I had to break it up, and I felt bad because, like, I had to tell the kid, because like, that guy was part of a larger group. So and they weren't really coming to blows, but he was the one that started, like, escalating it, like, why you gotta be an asshole? And, like, he was getting all, like, so I had to, like, tell him to, like, you know, calm down and stuff like that. And he was like, oh, it's cool, man. I'm just leaving. I'm leaving. So he turned around and he walked out. But
Jesus,
I'm just like, really? Are you kidding me?
That's the only thing I would not want to deal with, like, as a bouncer. I feel like as a bouncer, you got to deal with that bullshit all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just get, like, emotionally exhausted.
Yeah.
From, like, oh, what the fuck, these people being stupid. Because it's like, when you're a bouncer, obviously you're sober, so you see
right.
everything clearly than everybody else.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when I'm DJing and I see, like, people acting like assholes to each other, or it's like a drunk person comes up to me and they're like, I swear to God, this happened one night. This dude came up to me. He's like, yo, man, what's that? You play that song by that guy? And I was like, yeah, you know the name of it? He's like, nah, you know what song I'm talking about. I was like, yeah, dude, I got you, no worries. And then, like, I just played the next song that was in, like, what I was going to play, and he turned around, he's like, that's it, man. I'm like, there's no fucking way in a million years that's it. But it's like, you know, you got to deal with drunk people like that. You know?
And they're like children.
Oh, they are like
they're
children.
like children. Like it's like I know what it was like when my mom was telling me, "Hey, you got 5 more minutes on Nintendo," and I'm like, yeah, okay, 5 minutes, and I'm just like, and I start another fucking level, and I'm like, yeah, as soon as this level's over, and I just keep going and keep going. Yeah, no, okay, 5 more minutes, and then it just keeps going. It's the same shit. Like at the end of the fucking night, I'm telling people, I'm like, hey, we're wrapping up in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all right, cool, thanks. And then like fucking 20 minutes later, I'm still like, hey guys, you know, we gotta fucking move. You gotta go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and they're just hanging around having a fucking drink. I just want to finish this one beer, right? With their pitcher sitting next to them, and I'm like, so I started going around collecting pitchers, even if they were full. I was like, all right, really? Yeah. I was like, all right, gotta go. It's over. You can't take it with you. Dumping it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
One dude was just like, oh, no, it's cool, man. You can have it, man. You should drink it, man. Like, you know, it's over. Night's over, man. You deserve it. I'm just like.
Thanks, man. Thanks for telling me that I deserve it.
Like, cool. Night's over. I'm getting in my car to drive home. I'm not going to drink a pitcher of beer, but thank you. I appreciate it. You know?
Yeah. No, man. I love the guy who's just like, he's the authority. You deserve it.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks for your approval.
No, it was cool. I mean, you had your mixture of people, man. It was people that just like, you know, they just were like, I had a guy come in and he was just like, hey, I was sitting with those guys over there. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, cool. And he's just like, so, I'm like, yeah, go ahead. You're good. Like, why are you checking with me to see if you can go and sit with your peeps again? Like, I mean, it's a restaurant.
Probably
man.
So he didn't give you. So he probably just didn't want like, you know, there to be an altercation where like you walked in and like didn't show an ID or something stupid. I do have a question for you though.
Yeah.
Rob's brother, right? Did he like? Was it? Did they allow that? Like, you're not a bouncer. Like, but he said he's because of the way you looked. 1, you wouldn't have a problem, and 2, was his boss cool with it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's it. I mean, it was.
You don't have to come from like some kind of licensed company. Like,
apparently not.
All right, you just got to look intimidating and like.
Yeah, I totally got profiled. They were like, hey, you'd be good at this.
Yeah, you're a big guy and you have a huge beard. Like, people won't fuck with you.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, you got RBF. You're good.
RBF.
Yeah. This guy's.
Oh my god. Anyway, well,
no, tell me in our pictures, man. I don't look like I'm ready to fuck somebody up, and I'm like not. You know, I'm like the nicest dude.
No, you are. You're like the nicest dude. But it's just funny that actually was the reason why you got the job. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you were like, "Hey, how's it going? What brings you in to a bar?" So, what the fuck do you think? Anyway, well. That's going to do it for this week on Redbeard Podcast. If you guys didn't know and you check out my Facebook feed, you'll see that we did actually do a little bit of a Facebook Live video. I think we're going to keep that going. Maybe do that every week before we record. Maybe take like 15 minutes and see what topics you guys want us to talk about. We did talk about Civil War. There were a couple things we didn't really get to just because, they're not necessarily current. But if you guys have any current topics that you want us to talk about, please, hit us up on Facebook. Usually probably be on Thursday or Friday. Look for us. Look for that live feed. And if we are live, just, comment. Tell us what you want to discuss, and we'll include those.
Yeah, why don't you give a shout-out to some of the folks that actually asked the questions, though?
Oh, yeah. So Erica Borges, I think her name's changed because I think she's married now. But I knew her as Erica Borges. I haven't seen her in forever, and she was watching the entire time. And thank you, Erica. You are awesome. Also, thank you for reminding me to give a shout out. Thank you, David Lawler. If you guys need an awesome videographer for your wedding or for whatever, then you want to hit this guy up. He was the videographer for my wedding, and he killed it. And he's already posted some really great footage of the day on my Facebook. So if you guys want to see the quality and check it out, then obviously, he's Rhode Island based and is phenomenal. But I'm sure he'd be willing to travel if you guys paid him.
David likes taking photos, long walks on the beach, and Bates Motel.
He does like Bates Motel. And Erica Borges likes Erica likes The People versus O.J. Simpson, which we didn't talk about, but I thought it was great. I agree with you. Cuba Gooding Jr. was whiny, like I said, but I started to kind of work for me towards the end.
I'm going to actually, Erica, I am actually going to watch that at some point, probably while Tony's on his cruise, and that way him and I can have talk about it, I'd like to actually do a whole show on O.J. Simpson in general.
Yeah, that would be good. That's the only reason why I haven't brought it up in this podcast, because Cooley hasn't seen it, so it would just be me talking.
Yeah, same thing. Reason why I didn't bring up Bates Motel, which I absolutely love, by the way.
Yeah.
And you're gonna check that out. So
I'll check it out.
Rather than me like start saying stuff and spoiling things, we'll get into that when you actually watch it. But yeah, like definitely do a whole show on OJ just because it's OJ.
The People versus Redbeard podcast.
Yeah, that'll be the title.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for this week, guys. Continue to check out Tony Flying Solo, because there's 2 episodes. There was one done at the end of April and one that I just released last week. It was about Don and I discuss all 80s horror. So check that out, and we will see you guys, or you'll see Cooley next week, and I'll be back the following week. All right, guys. Peace.
Later.
Later.